This is tutorial lesson 14A, which will go over the scale factor. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with a simple rectangle that is 2 by 3. So here's my rectangle that's currently 2 inches wide by 3 inches tall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to click on the scale button over here. It then asks me to specify the base point. I'm going to go ahead and choose this upper left-hand corner. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to either make it larger or smaller from that upper left-hand corner. What I suggest you do is you always type in the scale factor unless you're just trying to make something bigger, kind of an Etch-a-Sketch fashion. But if you want it to be twice as big, you just type in 2, and now that rectangle is twice as big. Okay, I can highlight it again. This time I'll use this as the base point, and I will make it a quarter as large. So 0.25 will be my scale factor, and now it's a quarter the size that it just was. So that is scaling things up and down. Again, you can just keep doing this over and over. I'll go ahead and scale this up 10 times. So now it is very much larger. It's 10 times as large as it just was. Sometimes people get lost or confused when they scale things up a number of times and they just want to get it back to a certain size. Keep in mind this rectangle has kept its proportion every time. So it was 2 by 3. So it's kept its proportion. And let's say I want to just bring this back to 2 inches wide down here. There's a simple way to do this without redrawing the rectangle, and it's called scale by reference. So let me just highlight the rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and click on the scale tool. I'll use this as the base point, so hopefully it will come back inside of my title block. And then notice I have the reference option down here. I just have to type in R, enter. Specify the reference length. Well, I know that I want this length right here to be 2, so I'm going to go ahead and click here, and then I have to click right there. And it says, okay, tell me what the new length you want it to be is. Well, I want it to be 2, so I can try and get back to my 2 inch by 3 inch rectangle. So for my new length, I'm going to type in 2, enter, and there's my rectangle. And let's see if we did this correctly. And if we did, this should be 2 inches by 3 inches once again. So here we go. That's 2 inches, so that's good. And that should be 3 inches, and it is. So that's scale by reference. And that may not come into handy just yet, but there will be many times when you want to use that. And I suggest you watch this video to make sure you know how to use that, because it can save you from a lot of headaches, or at least from having to redraw things over and over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on 14A. I'm going to start out with a few rectangles that you can find all this in the book. When I click on rectangle, it tells me to specify the start corner, which is 0.5, 1.25. And then type in D for dimensions, and it's 1.875 by 1.031. My next start corner is 8, 5.375. D, enter, and my width is 2.25. My vertical is 0.562. My final base point is 14.5, 8.5. And what you'll notice for this one is the base point they gave us for this one is actually in the upper right hand corner. So my dimensions for this one are going to be, my horizontal dimension is going to be let's see, negative 2.167, and my vertical dimension is going to be negative 1.042. And so that would look right there. And if you're not sure if any of those are correct, you can go ahead and click on this and put your mouse right there and look down here as far as looking at what point that is, and that will tell you that that's 14.5 or 14.5, 8.5, which is the exact start point it should be. And if you want to double check the dimensions, you can go ahead and do so and make sure that's 2.167 by 1.042, which is exactly what it should be. Okay. Actually, I think I've actually messed up on this one right here in the middle, but that's okay. I can go ahead and fix this. I'm going to go ahead and take this and move this guy, because this should be the base point, and I believe I have this one right here as the base point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the move button, and I'm going to specify from this point, and it says specify destination. Well, that should be the base point of 8, 5.375. And that moved it to exactly where that needs to be. So now when I highlight this and I put my mouse right there, that's at 8, 5.375. And this has to be correct or these are not going to work properly. So I'm actually kind of glad I made that mistake. So you can see that you actually can move things to a specific point. So now we're going to scale these things up. So the first order of business is to take this guy right here, click on scale. It tells us that this is the base point and the scale factor is 8. So I type in 8 and that just got 8 times as big. Click on this guy, click on scale. This is the base point right here in the middle. And let's see, this should be a scale factor of 4. So that should be 4 times as big. And finally, we've got this guy right here. Click on scale, and the base point right here is this upper right one. And this scale factor is a scale factor of 6. And so when lesson 14A is done, it should end up looking something like that. So that is lesson 14A, and I'll see you again in 14B.